How did you humble a bully who thought you were weak? I wasn't the type of person people feared. In fact, most would say I was the quiet one. I went to work, did my job, and kept to myself. I wasn't flashy, loud, or confrontational, which apparently made me an easy target. At least, that's what my office bully thought. His name was Carl. Big guy, loud mouth, loved to walk into a room like he owned it. He had this disgusting laugh he used after insulting people, like he was daring everyone to fight back. Most people ignored him. I tried too, but for some reason, he decided I was his personal punching bag. He would say, "Hey weakling, you look tired. Too much video games?" in front of the whole break room. Then it escalated. He'd knock papers out of my hands, shove my chair slightly when he passed, or lean over my desk and say, "You ever stand up for yourself? Or are you just spineless?" The worst was when he cornered me in the parking lot one evening. I was unlocking my car when he strolled up with that smirk. "You know, you're lucky we're in a professional setting. Back in school, guys like you got their faces shoved in lockers." I looked at him, smiled politely, and said nothing. But inside, I made a promise. Because here's the thing, Carl didn't know. I grew up in a rough neighborhood. I'd been in fights before, real ones. I wasn't weak, I just had nothing to prove. But when someone insists on testing your limits, sometimes you have to remind them you're not a doormat. The opportunity came sooner than I expected. Our company hosted a team building retreat, ropes course, hiking, and all that nonsense. Carl, of course, strutted around like he was the king of the event. He mocked people for being slow on the trails, called one coworker grandma for needing water, and kept elbowing me like I was his sidekick. Then came the final activity, a physical challenge where teams had to carry heavy sandbags across a muddy obstacle course. Everyone groaned, but Carl's eyes lit up. "Perfect chance to see who's strong and who's useless," he announced loudly, clapping me on the back. "Guess we already know who's gonna choke." That was it. I wasn't going to let him humiliate me again. When the whistle blew, I grabbed 2 sandbags, one more than required, and sprinted ahead. Carl laughed at first, thinking I was showing off, but his laughter stopped when he realized I wasn't slowing down. Every time he tried to taunt me, I pushed harder. I crossed the finish line covered in mud. My team erupted in cheers. Carl, red-faced and panting, stumbled in much later. He tried to joke it off, but the shift had already happened. People looked at him differently. They looked at me differently. The weak one had just outperformed the bully in front of everyone. But the truly brutal part came later. During dinner that night, Carl couldn't resist trying to claw back his dominance. He raised his glass and said, "Hey, cheers to our resident sandbag mule." Who knew he actually had some muscle under there? The table chuckled, but I didn't smile. I looked him dead in the eye and said calmly, "Carl, if you ever put your hands on me again, I'll put you flat on your back before you can blink. Don't mistake my patience for weakness." He tried to laugh it off, but his voice cracked. People exchanged glances, and for the first time, no one laughed with him. They laughed at him. He never touched me again. In fact, he avoided me. The loud-mouthed bully who loved to humiliate others suddenly had nothing to say when I walked into a room.